Pope John Paul II rose at the White House Rose Garden, Monday Musings. This will probably be a short video because I can't even pretend to know a whole bunch about plants. So for that reason, this will probably be a pretty short video. And also I should just mention, because this does involve the White House, it obviously means we have to talk about political figures. It doesn't mean I'm endorsing political candidates in any way, since we're near an election. Although we should make some mention anytime that our Catholic faith does overlap with secular worldly affairs. I guess we probably should we should make mention of that. It's important for us to make mention. So when our Catholic faith does touch on something in the secular world, obviously that's something that is noteworthy. So just a little history on the how the Rose Garden came to be. And I just had to look this up on the Google. Prior to 1902, outside the Oval Office, where Rose Garden now is, that was typically just a place where there were stables for housing horses. And it was only in 1902, when First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, she insisted on a colonial garden to be built there, and it was based on, I guess, the traditional 18th century garden. And so it was, Eleanor Roosevelt, First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, who was the first to insist that there be a garden where the Rose Garden now is. It's called the Rose Garden because in 1913, First Lady Ellen Wilson replaced the colonial garden with a rose garden. And then it got another redesign, and that was when First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy, and she redesigned it in 1961. And the horticultural features that she wanted to follow horticultural features of the presidents Washington and Jefferson. So and obviously we've probably all seen the Rose Garden on TV. It's used to stage media events, sign bills, receptions. So we've all obviously seen that. First Lady Melania Trump, who was obviously the current First Lady, she oversaw a redesign of the Rose Garden, which was unveiled to the public in August 22nd of this year. And the reason they wanted to do that apparently was all paid for by private donations, and there were drainage issues, there were some plant disease that were happening, and apparently there was this large oak tree that was, the shadow of that oak tree was causing problems. And so when that redesign was unveiled, there was what is called the Pope John Paul II rose, and that was bred by Keith Zary in 2006. And this rose is said to be, it's a large white blossom. If you just Google it, you can see an image of it. It's a large white blossom, and it's said to be among the most fragrant of rose cultivars, which I had no idea what that was. It's basically a variety of plant that's originated and persisted under cultivation. So in this rose garden, in the redesign of this rose garden that was unveiled to the public and overseen by First Lady Melania Trump, there is now at the White House, there is this rose of Pope John Paul II. So I'm sure that's, maybe we can pray that his prayers will be guiding the affairs that happen in the White House. So in this redesign of the Rose Garden, there was also the John F. Kennedy rose and also the Peace Rose. Obviously, John F. Kennedy was the first Catholic president, and there's also the Peace Rose. So among those is also the Pope John Paul II rose. And so we can pray that maybe his, prayerful presence in heaven will guide, again, the affairs that happen in a very important place, which is the White House. The Pope John Paul II rose, after it was bred again, that was in 2006, and it was by Keith Zary. And that rose also now, and he was an American, and that rose is also now at the Vatican Gardens. So if you're ever at the White House, if you happen to take a tour there, I'm sure you can visit the gardens, and you can see the Pope John Paul II rose that will now be present at the White House. And again, we just continue to pray for his intercession. Obviously, we have an important election coming up, so we just continue to pray for this election, and that Pope John Paul II's spirit will guide all of the affairs that we have going on in the world. He certainly was a very worldly presence, and he kind of was able to take our faith and find ways to mix it with worldly affairs, and it's very important what's needed today. So let's continue to pray that happens. Okay, just some Monday musings about Pope John Paul II rose at the White House. See you soon, St. Catherine's.